My name is Peter Davison. I played the Fifth Doctor, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 351 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And we all know that everything that a Santaran warrior does is in the glory and honor of the Santaran Empire. But sometimes you just want to ride a horse. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a dirk from the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany and Troy.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
everybody.
Hopefully everyone is safe from the said storms or snowfall.
Yeah, no kidding.
Stay
Yeah.
warm, stay safe. And
Yes.
holy cow, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Our
Illinois.
prayers with
In
you.
Illinois. I don't know. I have a lot of friends in Kentucky, and I've just been seeing a lot of pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, tornadoes
Mother
in
Nature,
December
you need an
is a bit,
attitude adjustment.
is a bit odd.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
At this point, we should be worried about snow, not twisters. But
No.
it's been slightly warmer than usual, and that just causes issues. So
Yes.
And it's been cold over here.
Doesn't know what to make. Can't make up its mind here. There's times when it was like
Same
in the
here.
teens, and then like a couple days ago it was like 60. Like okay.
That's me Wednesday.
It's like Mother Nature is just trying on all kinds of different looks. It's like, well, okay, that's great, but could you pick one
Like
and
the
stick with it?
doctor's regenerated and he's trying to find the right outfit. Make up your mind
Yeah.
now, Doc.
Or when Romana was trying on
Yes,
several different
faces, yeah.
Yes.
faces.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do the news, which we actually have
Yeah.
kind of a decent amount of news. Not all of it's good news, but
No.
we have
no.
some.
Kind of happened back to back.
Yeah. That's the way these things tend to go, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Keep Betty White in bubble wrap for the next X number of days, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
About
Right?
hundreds of years.
She's gonna
When is-
outlive
when-
us all.
When is her birthday? It's soon,
It's
yes?
early next year, I think.
Oh, okay.
Should be turning 100.
Holy
Mhm.
cow.
Yep.
Yes, so our
So,
first piece of 10 o'clock news.
yep.
Note I said it's the first piece of 10 o'clock news. Is author Anne Rice passed away. This news I saw yesterday, I believe. And she passed away at the age of 80, I want to say. Let me look at the
Mhm.
thing. There was a post from her son on Facebook and outlined what had happened and gave a really nice little eulogy there for her. But I mean, I'd never read any of her stuff, but her Interview with a Vampire is very popular. And just all those kinds of things. And I have a lot of friends on my list and in some of my groups who are really big into her writing, and it's just, I mean, it's some really groundbreaking stuff that she left, and so, and it seems like she'd been ill for a little while. So
Well, she had a stroke.
yeah, she had a stroke, and which that's just not a good deal anyway. So
No.
I mean, it's never easy to lose a family member or anyone like that. And I just remember when my grandma, she had a little stroke, and she just never was quite the same, and it was almost almost a relief when she did pass, but it's still sad, and so,
Yeah.
for sure. But she definitely left behind quite the body of work to remember
Yes.
her by, so thank goodness for that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And then Mike Nesmith of
Yeah.
the Monkees
Yes. This was a
passed away
shocker.
at the age of 78, apparently of natural causes, is what they're saying. But considering that he and Mickey have been on kind of the retirement farewell tour for like the Monkees franchise
Mhm.
for a while, and literally just had their last show of that tour last month. I have a friend who was at that show, and she's like,
Wow.
she's like, I just saw him.
Mhm.
So, but I think it was Sean had
Yeah.
posted, because he and Mel had gone to that
Had
show when
gone,
it
yeah.
came through Kansas City, and he said then it seemed like Mickey was Mike was kind of tired.
Mm.
Mhm.
So who knows? And we'll probably actually never know, and that's that. It's
No.
not our place to know.
No, and
Right.
it's kind of
But
what I've noticed with with musicians is, maybe they get the diagnosis and they're just like, screw it, I just, I want to go out with my boots on, so to speak. So
Show must go on. Yep.
yes, I mean, Freddie Mercury, they may have not
Yep.
have been performing live, but they were recording to the very end of his life.
Yes.
So I
Yep.
kind of get the feeling like this is probably the similar thing. Like he maybe knew he was not doing well, and he's like, you know what, let's just go out with a bang. And that's apparently what they did. So
Yep.
Yeah.
nothing but respect for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just wild to think there's only one of them left.
Yeah. no, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I pulled out my Monkeys season 1 and 2 DVDs and started watching some of them, and it's like, even if you have a chance to check some of that stuff out on YouTube, I mean, it's slapstick oddball comedy, but I mean, just the comedic timing, the musicianship. I mean, I didn't know until I read a little bit more about Mike. He actually wrote Different Drum that Linda Ronstadt made a hit out of, and it's like, wow. So,
yeah.
he left a mark.
Absolutely.
Yep. So oh my.
Yeah.
Well, in I guess happier news. Moving
Yeah.
on to some happier things.
I didn't realize they were still doing these movies. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess J.K. Rowling is, she sleeps on a bed of gold bars, so she's just gonna say, I don't care if the last one didn't do well. We move on. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But another Fantastic Beasts movie, The Secrets of Dumbledore, and it's like,
Yep.
does he have any left?
Yeah, really.
Seriously.
It's like, where do you know? We've had this discussion when we were
Yes,
talking
yes,
about
we
when they
have.
dropped the title.
That's
And-
right. I said that. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm having a moment of deja vu. But yes,
Yeah.
The Secrets of Dumbledore, and I'm like, I don't think I can handle anymore. But okay. So it's a thing.
I mean, this is not a soapbox that we need to be getting on right now.
No. There'll be time
but-
for that later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do have to say that, like, I do enjoy Eddie Redmayne's portrayal
Yes.
of Newt
Yeah.
Scamander, and it's again,
I
I don't want to start opening up Pandora's box, but it's like, it looks like maybe Mads Mikkelsen's portrayal of Grindelwald might be interesting. It kind of sucks what happened to Johnny Depp,
Well,
especially things that we learned after the fact.
yeah,
Mhm.
that was
Yeah.
But
No bueno.
I'll refrain because we want to keep this a PG.
yeah, well,
podcast.
that's,
Yeah.
that's a discussion
Yeah.
for another time too.
Yeah, but that
Mhm.
was I was saying it was a dick move.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep,
Very.
very much so.
yeah. There's a reason that we have the phrase "innocent until proven guilty."
Yes.
So
Yes.
But you know,
We'll just leave it at
that
that. But
that doesn't apply to the court of public opinion apparently.
yeah,
But
unfortunately.
anyway, regardless,
Yeah,
I mean,
I do like Newt. It's gonna be fun to see him running around with his friends, especially Jacob.
Jacob.
Yes.
Hogwarts is gonna. I loved it. The bit of him when he was like the Hogwarts students. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is gonna be cute.
Yes. Just
So,
don't get him anywhere near the Whomping Willow or anything like
Yeah.
that.
oh
Ooh,
goodness.
Yep,
it would be
exactly.
interesting if you could bump into a young Hagrid.
Yeah.
That would be
So
nice.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, all the public stuff aside, the wizarding world is still fun to play in.
This is
Yes.
true, and I do like Newt Scamander, and
Mhm.
it's just like okay, let's just keep it lighthearted, fun. We don't have to go into the heavy lore type of stuff because we did that. And
Yeah.
let's just
Mhm.
play around with this and have
Yeah.
a good time.
Yes.
I mean, it's called
There's-
Fantastic Beasts. Give us the Fantastic Beasts.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Like,
I want to
love
see
that
all the
first-
crazy animals that that
Yeah.
some we've only been name dropped in the books, and
Yeah.
some that we've never
Mhm.
even heard of before.
Can we get more of like what the most majority of the first movie was like until like the end?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what that was my favorite part of the first movie was just
Mhm.
it's Newt Scamander. He's he's just kind of this odd duck, and he's got his
Mhm.
favorite.
He's a Hufflepuff.
He's a Hufflepuff.
Yes.
It's like, you know what? I mean, Hufflepuff might not be my absolute favorite because reasons, but you know what? You know, he was just fun to watch. Like he just gets into
Yes.
like the magizoology,
Mhm.
which there's a word for you. But just he's adorable. Let's have some more of that and a little less of the heavy, earth-shattering magic kind of stuff. That was what really got me into Harry Potter in the first place. Like this is so cute, and there's magic and adventure and
Mhm.
Yep.
heroics.
And if the Niffler has a cousin, I wouldn't mind.
Ah, yes, that too. Just don't wreck my house, please.
Mhm.
Exactly.
All the shiny objects.
Yes.
Mhm.
Gotta love a Niffler.
Yep. I swear my cat is half Niffler.
Probably is.
And not Sneasel. Or
Who
whatever.
knows?
That too.
Especially this time of year, cats are like prone to seek out those shiny objects.
Mhm.
Yes. I do love seeing the creative ways of how people decorate the Christmas tree when they have cats.
Yep.
Mhm.
My favorite one is someone put it upside down on the ceiling, and I'm like, I
Yes.
have no idea how you did that, but I respect you for doing it.
Mad skills.
Mhm.
Yes, you have to get
Mhm.
creative with pets and children.
Yep.
Mhm.
Although sometimes, especially with kids, you just kind of have to let them play with the ornaments.
Yep.
Alex kept handing me tree ornaments while we were downstairs watching DuckTales, the new DuckTales, because he wanted to, and we have a tree upstairs and a tree downstairs, and he kept bringing me the ornaments like the hook fell off, and I'm like, and how did that happen? Exactly. So it was cute, and I'd hand him to him, and he put them back on exactly where they were. So
Oh.
no harm, no foul.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of shiny things, uh, something shiny that a Niffler might go after is a Golden Globe Award.
Fair enough.
So it's crazy enough to think that we're talking about award season again, but here we are. So we've got
feels like this pops up. I know it actually doesn't, but it feels like it pops up every couple of months. I don't know why, but here we are.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got the nominees for upcoming Golden Globes, which you remember they break up their categories between dramas and musical/comedy, which musicals
never
can
understand.
be dramatic. So
Yes.
I somewhat take offense to this.
Yeah, I never understood that.
To the particular decision, but I'm not in charge. So whatever.
I mean, I guess they could make the musicals its own thing, except how many musicals are there in TV and movies, really? I mean, there are some, but I don't know if it's enough to carry.
Not enough every year to constitute its own category.
Say.
It's just
as sad
odd
as that makes me. More musicals.
I mean, more and more shows seem to have at least a musical episode.
Yeah,
it seems like.
Well, if they stop tanking at the box office, they could probably do a little better.
Yeah. So nominees. Best Motion Picture Drama. I haven't seen any of these yet, but Dune is in there.
Which that one I'm excited about, because I mean I enjoyed Dune. I don't know what people who haven't read the book think about it, because a lot of people I know have read the book, or at least know.
To be honest, I just started reading and I saw the movie first, and I enjoyed the movie. Okay. I mean, I enjoy both versions, the Sting one and this new one. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're both good in their own way, and they both have flaws, but I honestly enjoyed this one, with the caveat that we've only seen half the story so far.
Right, we haven't seen the whole picture.
But the 84 version also like skipped over probably the second half of the story, so I'm actually glad that they split it in two. But it's just, I don't know, it's interesting that it got nominated. I am pleasantly surprised, because I would totally be one of those like, yes, nominate it, it was awesome. But we'll see if it takes home any hardware.
I thought this was interesting. I haven't seen any of these yet, although there are two on here that I do want to see. That the actress in a motion picture drama, of the 5 nominees, 4 of them are ladies playing real people.
If there's one thing that a awards committee likes, is
real life,
based on a true story, biopics, biography, that kind of thing. Even and it's not limited to movies and TV. Also, books, like on our committee for picture books for the Beehive Awards here that I'm on, there were quite a few on the long list that we're considering for next year that are based on a true story, not necessarily biographical, but it's sort of, it's like, okay, there are good books that aren't necessarily true story based, but whatever. But you want to win an award, or tell a story about a person who really lived, whether or not it's any or whether or not it's accurate. Well,
yeah. I just thought that was interesting. I was like, well, that's based on a real person. That's a real person. That's a real person. That's a real person. I had to look on the one Olivia Colman is nominated for. I'm like, oh, that's based on a book. It's a fictional story. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. That,
but I'm sure it's
Yeah.
literary.
yeah. So best I can't speak. Best motion picture, musical, or comedy. I actually have seen one of these because I've seen Tick Tick Boom.
Well,
So,
there you go.
which is actually really good. West Side Story, the new West Side Story, is also nominated as well. So, and again, since I've seen Tick Tick Boom, I can attest that yes, Andrew Garfield's performance in that probably does deserve a nomination for actor, motion picture, musical, or comedy. Emma Stone got nominated for her role in Cruella.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah. I find it interesting that you've got actor and actress in a motion picture, drama, musical, or comedy, but when you get to supporting, it does not differentiate between the two. It could be either. So, because it's like you've got a nominee for best supporting actress from West Side Story, but then you've got nominees from movies that are obviously in the drama category. So weird.
Well, who knows?
Yeah. Best director, motion picture, Kenneth Branagh, who we know. Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. Denis Villeneuve for Dune. Motion picture animated. We got 5 nominees. 3 of them are Disney / Pixar. So
Yeah.
Stop.
yeah, Encanto, Luca, and Raya and the Last Dragon. So
Haven't seen any of them.
If I had to guess, I would say Encanto would probably get it, just because it's, well, okay, it is fantasy, but not like high fantasy. And also the animation on Luca, it's not the greatest. But I don't know.
It could also be that because that's the newest, and therefore it's going to be more in
Right.
people's minds too. Because Raya and the Last Dragon seems like it came out forever ago.
Well, this year,
Yeah.
I mean, for all the talk that 2020 felt like it lasted forever, I feel like this year has been like 10 years.
Yeah,
And Raya came out like what, March?
yeah.
Or April?
Think so.
Somewhere in
It
the
was
spring.
really early on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that was just that was just earlier this year.
Yeah.
Dang, I just swear it came out 5 years ago.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so in the Golden Globes, it's movies and television. So drama, not really anything we really care about. Television series, musical, or comedy, though. I'm excited to see this for best television series, musical, or comedy. I don't really know the others. I know of Ted Lasso, but I've never watched it. But Only Murders in the Building.
Yahoo!
And then both Steve Martin and Martin Short got nominated for actor in a television series. Although I'm kind of sad because Selena Gomez did not get nominated.
I
her
know
role.
that was don't know how I feel about that one. I think they missed the boat.
Yeah.
There's always at least one snub.
Yep.
Mhm.
Actor in a limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television. Paul Bettany for WandaVision.
Ooh.
And that doesn't surprise. The reason it surprises me, it's like, oh, you guys are giving awards for Marvel stuff. That's awesome. And it's just not something I really thought I'd see. But I enjoyed WandaVision, and that was in no small part due to Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. So it's like,
and
sweet.
Elizabeth was nominated as well.
Yes.
in the
So
complimentary actress category. So yeah. But the
we'll see if they win. I really hope so.
The awards are scheduled for January 9th, but it's not going to be televised. So the television stream, whatever the proper terminology, broadcast has been canceled because of issues on the backside. So yeah, NBC canceled the telecast because of issues with the Hollywood Foreign Press. So who knows what's going to happen as far as they'll just make an announcement like they did with the nominations. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe it'll just be a YouTube video of someone reading off, here's who won.
Probably.
And you can
it could be. That's what they do with the nominations anyway. So
yeah, they'll mail you your award, whoever wins.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. So award season, yay? Question mark. And then
I gotta say they're kind of ballsy giving up all that guaranteed ratings and ad revenue, but okay.
Yeah. Apparently there's some issues in the back end with Hollywood Foreign Press with like financial things and some other things, and I didn't go down that rabbit hole of reading up on it. So
I'm just I'm just like, it must be bad if they're just not gonna, because
they've been put in timeout.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
As far as TV is concerned.
Yeah.
Like, you can nominate people, you can hand out the awards, but you're not gonna do it on TV. So
you're not gonna put on a show.
Yeah.
In this case, the show will not go on.
Nope.
No.
Oops. At least not far as that one. So, but that's a whole other.
Yes.
All these awards are their own organization, so this doesn't mean that like the Emmys and the Academy Awards will be affected if anybody happens to be like, oh, does that mean there's not going to be any Oscars? Like, no, those are completely different television productions. So
unless somebody does something stupid between now and Oscar time.
Yep.
I don't know what that could be, but I'm not even gonna speculate.
Yeah. And then are we really surprised at this? No. Are our wallets crying as they do every time we get this announcement? Yes. Yeah. But really no shock whatsoever. Big Finish has announced that they have yet again extended their license with the BBC for the use of Doctor Who in the Big Finish audios. It is now extended through the 31st of March 2030.
So there you go. Our wallets cry, but
rejoice.
I mean, they're doing a special run of box sets for the 5th Doctor's 40th anniversary. They got to go through everybody when they get down to all the classic Doctors. Like, hey, by the way, this is the 40th anniversary of the 6th Doctor and of the 7th Doctor.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna feel old when it's the 40th anniversary of the 9th Doctor. Oh my goodness.
Gosh. Yeah, I get the feeling no matter what happens with the show on TV, I think Big Finish is just gonna keep on keeping on. As long as the BBC will give them the license, and we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Anyway, so yay, Big Finish, more Big Finish for the foreseeable future. And it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks, Big Finish.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
My bank account curses your name, but I
Uh-huh.
am happy about this.
Yeah.
Although with the just the sheer volume of what they keep putting out now that they've kind of ditched the not I don't want to say ditch the main range because you can still get it, but just kind of they've changed the way that they've released these. It feels like there's a lot more that they've been doing, and it's like, oh wow, I can't get everything like I used to because
Mhm.
it's just I got to be more choosy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
all
but
great. It's
if
just
you've got, a big wad of cash just sitting around waiting to be spent on something, though, you
Mhm.
can pre-order a complete bundle of all of
Yep.
2022's box sets
woo, don't tempt me.
for only
Yeah.
274 pounds. I don't know what that equals to in American dollars.
If you pay with PayPal, it calculates it for you. And don't ask me how I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here, Chrissy. Same here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. So that gets you pretty much everything that's on the docket for next year, and that includes Fifth Doctor Adventures, Eighth Doctor Adventures,
so
Ninth
bringing back
Doctor,
Charlie Pollard.
yeah,
Yes.
Third Doctor, some Fourth Doctor, some more Eighth Doctor, and some First Doctor. So
Or
Oh,
if you
God.
don't want to wait and do the bundle, you can just wait till the email plops into your
Yeah.
email almost
Yeah.
every other day.
Although if you
Flash
do,
sale!
yeah, if you do want to save a little cash, I would suggest pre-ordering them because typically
Yes.
the box sets will be $20 on pre-order as opposed to like a month after they're released they go up to like 25 or 30 depending on what's in
Yep.
what it is. So and
mm,
sometimes there'll be sales, but yeah, so if there's one you get the email and you like, ooh, that one looks good, jump on that pre-order bandwagon because
Yep.
it's just gonna go up.
mhm.
You might save yourself
Well,
some
yeah, and
money in the
that
long run.
274 pound price is for the collector's edition CDs. You could save
Mm.
yourself almost 40 quid if you do the digital downloads. It's only 237 pounds.
Which
So
I do the digital download because, well, I've always done it even before Corona Chan decided to wreak havoc with our lives. But
Yeah.
it's you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about.
That's that's 7 titles
Yeah,
just on its own. So when you
Yep.
break that down per
And it's-
title, it's
yeah.
probably pretty darn good, actually.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you. But yeah, so and the downloads are yours to keep, so you can even like download them to your hard drive, which they do suggest that you do. And
Yeah.
even if for some reason they lose the license, which is not happening anytime soon,
Not
but
until
you-
2030.
not until 2030 when they'll
Yeah.
probably
It-
renegotiate and extend it even
Before
further out.
then, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so but you can, no matter what happens, it's yours to keep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And it's it's good Doctor Who in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's never goes out of style.
Yeah. It is. It's more time separates from what has aired in the new series. Big Finish is more likely to, we're only going to get more and more of the new Who
Yeah.
folks. It's
Mhm.
just there
Mhm.
has to be a certain amount of time
Mhm.
from airing to where Big Finish is allowed
Yeah.
to start using those characters. So
Yeah.
it's
well, I
only
mean,
a matter of time before we start getting. I mean, we've already
Yeah.
started getting the Lost Centurion, which is
Mhm.
essentially Roy. So
Yeah.
it's only a matter of
Well, and
time before
they-
we start getting Matt's Doctor.
Yeah.
And
It's that. I mean, they have done stories in the Peter Capaldi era. That like those like Matt and Peter, they kind of have to wait for the actors to be available,
yeah,
and so that's a
too.
thing.
they
But
are
they're-
they are a little busy
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and they have done stuff with. I'm pretty sure they've done Martha stories. Yeah, because they did the year of
oh yeah,
the story of
yeah.
Martha Jones.
Mhm.
So, Freema Agyeman's come on, and Catherine Tate's been done a couple box sets.
Yeah, I was
Billie
actually
Piper.
listening to one of.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah,
10th Doctor. It's
Yeah,
just,
the 10th Doctor's come on and done.
Yeah.
Like all the Doctor and the companions. We've had the 9th Doctor, so it's like, come on,
Like,
Matt,
and
you
this
gotta
has had
clear your
3
schedule.
series.
Matt's got to clear his schedule, so just come over for a weekend and record a box set. That's all. Just a couple of days. They have
Mhm.
good lunches, apparently. Or so they say
Because
on
you
all
don't have
the.
to travel. You could just set up a home recording studio and
Oh, that's true. They
don't know.
they
You
have.
got a spare closet, and if you need pointers, just ask Peter Davison.
Yep.
Mhm.
So there's Matt. There's no excuse. Whatever your next big movie is, just say, "Hey, I'm gonna go record this and send it over to upload it to Big Finish's Dropbox or however they do it." And there you go. We have 11th Doctor. Oh goodness.
Mhm.
I
feel
missed
like-
the 11th Doctor. I was on a rabbit hole today of like watching River Song and the 11th Doctor videos on YouTube. So it's kind of in
Yeah.
that
Oh,
nostalgic.
like I said, we were watching the new DuckTales earlier today, and David Tennant plays Uncle Scrooge, and gosh, it's like, it makes me want to go back and rewatch 10th Doctor
Yeah.
episodes.
Mhm.
Even though he's very Scottish in DuckTales, but it's like it's still him.
Yep. Well, all right. There's that. Real quick. Gold Standard, this month's Patreon choice is now available for patron supporters. We did the George Clooney movie, Michael Clayton. So, which is a sort of corporate greed thriller.
I hear corporate greed and thriller, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
It's like it's got slightly more action than something like Aaron Brockovich,
Mhm.
but not as much action as something like I was using like the Jason Bourne movies as my example of that, but I think that's a bit too far.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that. When I hear thriller, I think like Jason Bourne, Tom Clancy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you would
I don't
think
know
it's
what
like a Tom
else.
Clancy type thing, but it's not quite as
Okay.
actiony. So think like Aaron Brockovich or like All the President's Men. That type.
So kind of a political, not political, but in that same category,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. So people doing bad crap for very bad reasons because they have no morals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's George Clooney.
Yeah, no team
so,
leverage in sight.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I miss Team Leverage sometimes. I know I can watch them on the electric TV app or whatever it's called, but I
Yeah.
miss them.
Yeah. So if you're a Patreon supporter for Gold Standard, then that's available for you. And if you're not, what you waiting for?
Mhm.
No, we've been doing the Patreon thing for like more than a year now, and you immediately get access to all of our Patreon exclusives. So
There you
we have a
go.
lot of content to listen to there.
Yes.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
But it's not.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. So it's not just Oscar movies that you may or may not have heard of. It's also you get a request. Hey, why don't we have the Gold Standard crew do blank? Whatever is your favorite movie.
Yep.
Mhm. We are slowly checking off the list of certain views.
Yes.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I could be obliged to make a request here or there.
Yeah. And I may have not so subtly pointed Holly in certain directions.
Yes,
I'd really love to
might
do
need a
these
re-nudge.
particular movies.
Yes,
They
might
they
need a
didn't win
re-nudge
Best
later.
Picture, and therefore we'll never get to them unless somebody requests them.
Yes.
Oh,
More
my.
than
So-
happy
so
to oblige
it's-
because usually it's in the same vein
Yes.
that I want to request, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I want?
So if you
Help.
want to save Rachel's sanity,
Yeah.
so you can you can become a patron on Patreon and request things that are a little more
Our speed.
her speed. Yes, so let's
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to feedback. So we got some feedback from Shalane.
Thank you as always.
Yes, indeed.
So she says the musical Assassins, which she mentioned in our feedback last week, which I did not know what it was. Apparently, it is a musical about assassins who have either successfully killed or attempted to assassinate an American president. So,
Oh,
like John Wilkes Booth, who killed Lincoln, and Lee Harvey Oswald, who killed JFK.
someone made a musical out of that. Okay.
Stephen Sondheim apparently did.
Wow. Well, there is nothing that cannot become a musical apparently, because
Apparently.
wow,
Hey, you know, why not?
why not indeed?
I mean, if they can turn Shrek into a musical and have it be successful, why not?
Well, I thought you were going to say if they can turn Cats, given what its source material is.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Apparently, when she was in college, the college put that particular one on, so that's how she saw it. And then she has also watched Tick Tick Boom. Good girl. And yes, they did have someone play Stephen Sondheim. Like I said, Stephen Sondheim appears on screen, played by Bradley Whitford, who was on The West Wing. But Stephen Sondheim also, actual Stephen Sondheim appears, but not visually. So, and then she said, talking about the Alan Menken and Friends special, because we were like, oh, I wonder where you can watch that. Apparently, it is on Disney Plus as an extra for Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Cool.
I always forget to look in the extras because there are some good stuff. Like there's some commentary in some of them, some bloopers, some deleted scenes in the extras in Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'm glad that they have that on
Mhm.
Disney Plus, because that is one thing that you miss a lot of times with streaming, as opposed to having a disc, is all those fun little extras.
Yeah. That was always the best part of the discs, of the DVDs and Blu-rays. It's like, where are the interviews and the behind the scenes stuff? And
yeah, like if they have everything on streaming, I would honestly gladly buy a DVD or Blu-ray if it was just the special features. Maybe I'm just weird, but I would do that.
I mean, it's kind of why I don't think physical media is going to go away completely. Just because there are some things it's not feasible to put on streaming. I mean, and I could just be talking out of my butt here, because I'm like, please don't go anywhere physical media, because I love you and I want to, I mean, streaming is convenient, yes, but someone could delete that with a button, with a push of a button, or stuff goes off Netflix and comes back on, and it's not always there.
And it's like the difference in time. Like I was in the middle of watching something on Netflix, they took it down and they put it on something I didn't have, and I couldn't really buy it. Like I was so mad. Like,
Yeah,
really?
for sure.
How can they do the show?
I know. So it's like, I don't know. At work, I kind of deal with this. Like, people are all like, our collection selectors are all like, oh, streaming that's the wave of the future, and we don't need to keep our stuff. It's like, no, we need to keep it. Stop it. People still want the DVDs and stuff, but I don't know.
Yep. And then, of course, talking about Walt Disney, our big 350th episode last week. Something we didn't really talk about was Walt being portrayed in media, which he really hasn't.
No.
But like we have like Saving Mr. Banks, and but she mentions, aside from Saving Mr. Banks, she says, I think there's a little movie about Walt Disney about how he became a cartoonist. She says it doesn't know it's released in theaters, it's just a TV movie. I don't know if it was ever released in theaters. I believe the movie she's talking about is Walt Before Mickey.
Okay.
Which you can currently watch free on IMDb TV. You can check around the internet. I watched it a few years ago. It came out in 2015. It's fairly, I mean, the big stuff, it's historically accurate. Actual conversations between people, who knows how accurate they are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So but I it was good, so all things considering. So funny is Roy Disney is played by John Heder in Napoleon Dynamite. So
okay, I am having a really hard time picturing that.
Me too.
I don't doubt he could do it. Just I mean, he's not. He doesn't just play the dumb weirdo or whatever. But it's like, okay, I got to figure that one out. I got to wrap my head around that one.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that that's a movie that Shalane is referring to. She didn't put a name in there, and that's the only one that's the only other movie I know of that like at least mainstream, that's not like a fan done movie where somebody has portrayed Walt Disney in a feature-length movie. Pardon me.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Sometimes I'm a little surprised that there aren't more like a biopic about Walt Disney. I mean, I'm sure the Disney company is like very protective of how he is portrayed and how,
which is why one of the few times that he's been portrayed in a movie is played by America's Dad. So,
yes. And it was a Disney movie.
Yes.
Yep.
And they had complete control over it. So
yes,
it's like, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be played by Tom Hanks. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So
it's just interesting, like for a personality like Walt Disney and for how big of a reach he's had throughout the years. It's kind of like, it's one of those things that's like, you would think, but no.
Yep. And then she asks if we have seen the DVD collection called Walt Disney's Treasures.
Yeah, I know which one she's talking about.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't think they make them anymore. I actually looked online last week to see, like, oh, I wonder if we can still get these. Yeah, no, they came in like a steel case. They're not steel book, but like the one we had was like all the cartoons from like the World War II. It was like Disney at War.
Yeah, that's what she says.
Yeah. Like I mentioned it last week. It's the one where Donald Duck dreams that he's a Nazi, or he's living in Nazi Germany, and it kind of really lampoons the propaganda of what it was like, and I'm like, oh man, Donald, if you only knew. But
Yeah.
but it was, yeah, people are always like, oh no, there was a cartoon where Donald Duck was a Nazi. I'm like, guys, it was a dream. Like, good grief. People
It's
just
like
take,
it's not that he necessarily was a Nazi. He just happened to be living in Nazi occupied
Yeah.
Germany.
yeah, he was having a nightmare. For
He was
heaven's
in the
sake.
wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
point was like, yeah, these are, the enemy, quote unquote. And he's grateful that he lives in the United States by the end. And it's, I mean, the last part to Modern Sensibilities, it sounds a little hokey, but at the same time it's like, think about what was going on at the time and why this would have been why this particular cartoon would have been produced. It's a fun one to watch. I think you can pull it up on YouTube. And then there's one about, there's one about like kids growing up in Nazi Germany, and that one is propaganda-ish, but it is very well done as a cartoon and as a short. So anyway, it was a fun collection to look at, just for for nothing else but for historical purposes, and just to kind of get in that mindset of someone living at that time. And this was the kind of entertainment that was available, and encouraging people to support the war effort, and to just how much of an impact the war had. And there are other sets of the Walt Disney Treasures too. I just always remember that one because first off, we bought it at Disneyland, and second off, I enjoyed it quite a bit because I just sat down and watched the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, I love this, because it tickled my Disney bone, and it tickled my history buff bone. So it was a good one. But so if you can find any of those box sets, I don't think you can. I mean, you can probably get them off Amazon for a hefty chunk of change, but there's different ones. So they're not all heavy. Oh, here's what Disney did in during wartime. There's some lighter, like the Goofy collection or something like that. So.
Like all the ones where Goofy tries different sports. And
I love Disney or Goofy cartoons where it's like how to be or how to do, or
how to play football, how to ski. Yeah.
Yes.
My favorite one is how to be a sailor, because he does. I don't know why. It's just one I always watched when I was little, and I would like do the little dance where he falls off the ship, and because he danced off too far. Oh, Goofy.
Gotta be careful when you're doing those shanty jigs.
Yes.
You're not standing too close to the edge of the deck.
Yeah. That is one set that I really I am kicking myself for missing out on, because I would have loved to sit down and just watch all those.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, if you're listening. And Humphrey the Bear, please.
Oh yes, Humphrey the Bear. I love Humphrey. Keep your peas off government property. I don't know why that line just cracks me up, but it just did.
Well, and there's the litter song.
Oh yeah. First you take it down, da 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 da, bump bump, da 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 da. I can't remember the lyrics. I just remember the tune.
Oh my.
And then Humphrey trying to sneak in to Donald's place, and he has to pretend he's the bear rug.
Oh yeah, because it's wintertime. They're hibernating, and like all the bears are squashed in there, so he sneaks into Donald's cabin. Oh, those were classic. I loved them.
See, Disney, you would not be hurting getting money out of people.
Make these collections available, or put them on Disney Plus.
They will make you money.
Yes, you guys want money? Well, here's some free ideas. All we ask is just make them affordable. Maybe a coupon or something.
Yeah. So, go back to Shalade's feedback. I guess Leonard Maltin was the host of the Walt Disney Treasures.
Mm-hmm.
And then she finishes by saying when she was younger, she loved Alice in Wonderland and thought it was funny and cute. Apparently, she had some friends that thought it was scary, but it did seem scary to her. Which,
I can see that.
yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm sure that was, something that when they decided which, fairy tales or popular stories to adapt into cartoons, it's like, how well is this going to go over? how,
Right.
how much do we need to adjust from the original source material that
Yeah.
is, tends to be a bit more not so
Gruesome.
happy-go-lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have to have the stepsisters cut off parts of their feet so that the glass slipper will fit their
Mhm. Exactly. So, well, thank you, Shalane, for your feedback as
Yes,
always.
indeed.
We do
Gives us-
appreciate it.
Adds to our discussion for sure.
Mhm. So we'll move on to this week's main topic. Speaking of Doctor Who, not Big Finish yet.
Boy.
Give it some time. Maybe the time they hit that 2030. Jodie may be in Big Finish.
Very possible.
She won't be the Doctor anymore by the end of 2022. So, yeah. So
I wonder if they have like just scripts for different doctors just waiting. So like, when Peter Capaldi or whoever or Matt Smith they're available, then they're like, hey, so by the way, we got a story. We got a story we want you to do. Come take a look at it.
I'm sure they probably at least have some loose ideas, stuff outlined for particular doctors, because I know they will fit, that doctor's personality or whatever. I'm sure it probably makes it easier to negotiate too coming into it, because they'll be like, yeah, we're ready for you. We have stuff. You're not going to be sitting around waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for right now, Jodie is still the standing doctor, piloting the TARDIS for a little while longer, and she is now finished, I guess, technically her final full season. So full series, we'll call series instead of season, considering it was only 6 episodes, but they were long episodes. So longer than your stereotypical TV program episodes. So, but this time we have a overarching plot story. In this case, the Flux.
I'm trying not to giggle because I just the flux sounds like something.
It makes me think of the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. So,
well, yes, if it was flux capacitor, but it's just flux, and I'm thinking like, oh my.
Yeah. In this case, it's like it's a noun, but it's also a verb and also kind of an adjective. Because unlike other TV series or seasons where we can go like episode by episode and build upon, the subsequent episodes till we reach, the big climax, we can't really do that with this, just because it literally time is in flux, and therefore it is very wibbly wobbly, timey wimey throughout all 6 episodes. So yeah, we really can't go episode by episode because it's not chronological. But it essentially is the flux as a thing, as a noun, is a weapon, science experiment gone wrong, something, considering the way that the way the division is using it, I'm going to call it a weapon. Honestly, because kind of like Star-Lord, I'm one of the idiots that lives in these universe and I'd like to see it survive. So so division, which we learned very little about with the timeless children and everything, and the renegade doctor. So yeah, apparently the person who found the quote unquote doctor all the way back when she was a child, and we learned about the timeless child, Tectun, in the process of, after doing the experiments on the doctor and learning about regeneration and the doctor becoming the person that we know now, running around interfering, which, as far as the Time Lords are concerned, they're not supposed to interfere. So the doctor, just straight up being the doctor, Tectun created division, I guess, and then created the Flux, and because of the multiverse is a thing that they can use the Flux and destroy individual universes, essentially, to stop the doctor from doing what the doctor does. Essentially the doctor's mother is pissed off at the doctor for being the doctor. All the things that we love about the doctor as a character, adopted mother Tectun is like pissed off that her child has like grown up to be their own person and isn't like doing all the things that she wants them to do.
Basically, it's the Doctor Who version of the TVA.
Bingo, yes.
Kind of. But I mean, the TVA, they're not destroying universe, they're just resetting timelines. What Division is doing is they're taking the Flux and it's literally like eating universes from the outside in, to the point where they end up completely gone.
So the TVA, I mean, they reset a timeline because it went off the rails, and then the Division is just the TVA is preventing an alternate timeline. The Flux is just destroying the alternate timeline.
Essentially, they're like, we're not going to bother trying to fix this. We're just going to throw it down the garbage disposal. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Just because they're pissed off at the doctor. It's like when the doctor was having that moment with when she had been taken outside of the universe to kind of this little pocket where Tectun is doing her thing, and just the way Tectun was talking to her, she was just like, she reminds me of just like a pissed off mom that's all like, well, I mean, this is not as extreme an example, but it kind of makes me think of the same thing, because I've been watching the Sex and the City reboot and just like that, and there's a scene where Charlotte, who has two daughters, and her oldest daughter is very much like her, very girly, loves all the girly things, and then her younger daughter is so not. So they're having to get dressed to go to a piano recital, and she's got these really girly floral dresses for each of her daughters to wear, and the older daughter is all like, great, fabulous, puts the dress on, absolutely happy about it. Younger daughter is like, absolutely not, I want to wear what I wear, and she ends up wearing the dress but putting one of those tuxedo print t-shirts over top of it. where it looks like a tuxedo, but it's just
Mhm.
t-shirt
Yeah.
and combat boots and a wool hat,
Well,
which is,
At-
you know,
yeah. At this point, it's kind of like, oh, you're pissed at the doctor? Get in line. So's everybody else.
yeah.
And
Yeah, it's like the doctor already has enough issues as it is, because you've got Division, instigating this flux, which is just making time just go absolutely screwy all over the place. So that Sontarans are able to go into the past and invade. So by the time they get to our modern time, that Sontarans have like complete control over the earth.
Mhm.
And then there's this guy who just calls himself the Grand Serpent.
because that's not pretentious at all.
That's okay,
And I was getting
where
so
somewhere the
many-
master is going like, and they
Yes.
thought I was full of myself, calling myself the
Or-
master.
you stole my outfit, you stole my style, dressing for the occasion, my foot.
Yeah, really. I mean, this guy makes the master look like, just an annoying boss.
Mhm.
Ego got no,
Mhm.
the ego on this guy is five
Oh.
it's 5 bazillion times
I-
worse than the masters.
I mean, this is like the multiverse bizarro world version of Eric Roberts the Master.
Yeah, Yeah, this guy's
with a
just-
killing snake that can just go right into his body and come out whenever it wants to.
yeah,
Sounds
Yeah.
painful.
yeah. But so this guy he also has the ability to time travel, but if he doesn't age either. So, well, he's teamed up with the Sontarans. I half expected this guy to be the master.
Me too. Oh, I mean, the way I look at him, I'm just like,
I mean, he
I'm
was
just
checking
waiting
all
for
the
the shoe to drop.
boxes. Yeah,
yeah.
He was.
he was checking a lot of master related boxes.
I mean, and then,
until
and then him
the
dropping
magic
in at
snake
the
came
start
out of his
unit.
body, until the magic snake came out of his body, and I'm like, yeah, other than Eric Roberts master, which is a one-off, yeah, I don't think this guy's a master. I think he's just a megalomaniac
Mhm.
with a power trip.
Or maybe he got a timestamp of all the master's stuff and from the
Yeah,
Cybermen and
yeah, no, I think this
voila.
guy's just a nut job.
that too.
So you got this guy teaming up with the Sontarans all the way back in the past. And well, the Sontarans are slowly building up their resources, whatever, in the past so they can eventually take over Earth. He's doing what he can to help them by infiltrating the starts of Unit, the early days of Unit, and working his way through.
This is gonna make unit time dating now so much more fun.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, there was I think it was Travel in the Vortex that they had shared an article on Twitter as somebody complaining about how the episode where they kind of acknowledged the Brigadier, but he's not the Brigadier at that point. Like considering the time that it's set, it doesn't make sense for what we know of Unit adventures. But I was like, well, first of all, we already know Unit dating protocol doesn't mean jack squat. We learned that in Day of the Doctor.
Yep.
Mhm.
Either the 70s or the
Bobby
80s.
timey wimey.
depending on the
yeah.
depending on the dating protocol. Plus, we even see Kate mess with the dating protocol, because when the time tunnel first opens, I thought of this after. When the time tunnel opens and it's David Tennant's doctor, and Clara's like, where are you? And he's like, England 15, was it like 1563 or something like that is the year. And we even get the year on the screen when David Tennant's doctor first shows up in that story. But then when Clara and Kate are in the car headed to the Black Archive, and Kate is telling them to go to the tower to look for the code for the vortex manipulator. She says, you're looking for a string of numbers about 1550. So even there, she even knew what the exact year was, but then she gives them, ballpark that's actually 13 years earlier than that. It's like, no wonder unit stating protocol is so screwed up.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, when you start futzing around with unit in universe or out of universe, you're gonna get some static, my friends.
That too. I mean, and then once this guy gets, I would say, and then on top of all that, you got this guy who's infiltrated like unit from before it was even called unit. So therefore, any timeline that we knew was probably screwed up the minute he got involved in unit's history.
Yep.
So the timeline that we know probably doesn't matter anymore because of this guy's involvement.
So basically what they've done is they have just completely borked any kind of continuity, such as Doctor Who ever had any. So you just you can't, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you're coming or going either way. And so what does it matter anyway?
Yeah. Yep. Meanwhile, everybody at Big Finish is like, woohoo, openings.
Now given that they, as an example, have shoehorned in an entire, well, I want to say like 2 or 3 seasons worth of stories with the Doctor and Nyssa just in that little tiny bit between time flight of Arc of Infinity. You give Big Finish a crack, they will take a mile. And
yes,
they do it well. So it's not like they don't, it's not like they need the it's not like they need the openings, because they can do a lot with a very little.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, if people are like pissing and moaning like, oh, they've screwed up the continuity of the timeline, and I'm over here like, that just means wide openings for Big Finish, which I am totally down for, actually. So I'm okay with this.
You can just
it makes it harder. It makes it harder to follow, and it kind of is like, okay, so do you care about how this works or not? I don't know. It's I can see both sides.
Yeah. I mean, if they let it continue and they continue to like contradict themselves, then I could see it potentially becoming an issue, but
it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get the feeling that, okay, they're like, yes, this villain or antagonist, whatever, is making a mess of the timeline. So how do we fix it? And are you going to fix it?
Right.
Because you
dang
well better fix it, because you got a new boss coming in, same as the old boss, but still a new boss. So please,
the Who.
Yeah. Please don't
eat the old boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
try to leave the toy box at least as good as you found it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's something that if they could fix, whether will they and when will they, I don't know at this point. So, but the issue that people really were having is not necessarily that huge of like an overall continuity thing. It was more just based on this particular timing as portrayed in this series, that you know, Lethbridge Stewart as we know him would have like been promoted. It kind of messes up with the timeline of his rankings to eventually get to Brigadier, essentially, is what it is.
So he wouldn't have met the third Doctor and wouldn't be the Brigadier that we know and love.
No, he would have. It's just the timing of when he would have been given the rank of Brigadier could have potentially changed. So it's not huge. And I think maybe the military purists, I think, that are maybe having the biggest issue with it. Like, there's no way he could have reached that particular rank at that speed. And I'm like, well, we're also talking about, you know, some of his first encounters involved Yetis. So are we really going to argue over how fast Lethbridge Stewart could have made the rank of Brigadier? I don't think so. So again, that's just me. In the grand scheme of things, compared to some of the some of the other things to come out of this, that's the least of our concerns at this point. Our biggest concern really at this point is with the Doctor and her story and the lives that they have really at this point confirmed that yes, she had lives that she lived before or at some point that we have not seen, and that includes the renegade Doctor. That the memories are trapped in a fob watch, of course, as you do with Time Lords. And she does now have the fob watch, but at the moment she has chosen not to open it and has given it to the TARDIS to hide it, and has told the TARDIS to not give it to her unless she really, 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 really asks for it.
Guess what's going to happen in this year of specials?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Her pleading to the TARDIS, I want it back.
Sexy, dump that thing in the deepest, darkest black hole that you have in your innards.
Well, she essentially told the TARDIS, like, hide this somewhere like beyond yourself. so she can't just go like digging into like the console and be like, give me that fob watch, dang it.
Some things are better left buried.
Yeah.
Yep.
Potentially. Yeah. And there's this, in the process of time being all screwed up because of the flux, there's these characters that the makeup work on them is incredible. It's Swarm and I can't remember the gal's name.
Azure?
Is it Azure? Okay, yeah. So Swarm and Azure, and I could not for the life of me figure out why Swarm felt so familiar, because it's like he's not played by anybody name that I recognize, but it's like his voice was just driving me nuts. He must be from the same point in England or similar area in England that Paul Bettany is from, because they have the same accent. He sounds like Paul Bettany, and that's what was driving me nuts.
But it's not him.
Yeah. But he sounds so much like Paul Bettany, and it was absolutely driving me bonkers. And then the lady playing Azure could have been Helena Bonham Carter.
Yes.
Except it wasn't. But she so reminded me of Helena Bonham Carter.
I was gonna say I don't think the BBC has the budget for such big names.
Well, and I think if you had somebody like Helena Bonham Carter, you wouldn't hide her under a bunch of makeup either.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
you'd be going for Bellatrix Lestrange version 3.5.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you'd want everybody to be able to see her face, so they could be like, look, it's Helena Bonham Carter.
Look who we got.
Yeah. Look, we found some extra change in the couch cushions. We didn't completely blow the budget yet. Yet. So they did use quite a bit of, they had to use quite a bit of the special effects budget though for this one. I mean, because we had Santarans, we had Daleks there at the end. We had Weeping Angels, which Village of the Angels, episode number 4. Oh my god.
Cow. Yeah.
Probably one of the best episodes from Jodie Whittaker's run.
Yes.
So good.
Mhm.
Oh, and adds even more to what we know of the Weeping Angels. And every time they bring those guys back, and the more we learn about them as a creature and what they're capable of, I hate them even more, because if there is one creature or foe from modern Who that would genuinely scare me, it is the Weeping Angels, because I know I would be absolutely positively screwed. There's no way I would not be able to blink.
Exactly.
I would be a goner. Absolute goner. So and now, like over our encounters with the angels, we've in Blink, it was like, oh, they send you back in time and they feed off your residual energy. And then you're just kind of screwed to have to live out the rest of your life in the past. And then we get to, Matt Smith's era, and we learn that no, there are angels that will just flat out kill you. They're not going to bother to send you back in time. They're just going to straight up murder you and not care.
A la Emperor Palpatine.
Yes. Yeah. And then, we learn about things like the image of an angel is an angel. And then in this one, we learn that angels can knock down doors and ring doorbells like a serial killer in a slasher film. And the entire time I was like, oh my god, I would be so screwed. Absolutely screwed. It's terrifying.
The file, the one on fire scared me so. Like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. Like there was a drawing, and they threw it in the fire. They threw it in the fireplace, and the drawing had already popped up. So then this like 3D popped out drawing rendering of an angel ends up on fire. So it's like, oh my god. Oh, I hate the Weeping Angels. They scare me so much. I'd be so screwed. Yep. And apparently they can inhabit human bodies. Yeah, well, kind of. Because an image of an angel is an angel. And if you're psychic and you have a vision of an angel, that vision in your brain is now an angel. So like if you were to have a dream about a weeping angel, you would be screwed.
These aren't your friendly wearing trench coat angels.
This reminds me of like when you're a kid and you're playing like, I don't know, whatever game, like some like superheroes or something, and you just start making up like, well, I can fly and I have super strength and I can turn invisible and I can walk through walls and I'm like, okay, so what are your weaknesses? Where does it end? What's going to beat you? Nothing. Okay, well then I don't want to play anymore. Because you're just gonna beat me anyway. And they're like, haha, I win.
Yeah. Well, apparently the reason these angels were so aggressive is because they were trying to capture one of their own who had gone rogue. So these angels specifically worked for Division, and one angel decided it wasn't down with the whole angel Division team up. So and ran off.
Rubble in paradise.
Yes, it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I mean, and then we've got so a few side stories, like I said, like the gal who's the psychic who was from modern day, gets sent back to the 60s, and has to, assimilate to the 60s, and she ends up meeting up with this guy named Professor Jericho, who
Claire.
I mean, usually when the Doctor encounters someone who's like a doctor or a scientist or something, usually that person is, tries to like spout their authority and be like, no, I'm the expert here. This guy is all like, can I take notes while we're doing all this? He's like, I totally believe everything that's going on, but can I be taking notes at the same time? I need to write this down for posterity.
What's more watching the angels on the TV, but
Yeah. Yeah. Which I thought that was kind of cool. That he's like,
Yeah.
oh no, I'm totally down with this weird, strange thing that you claim is going on. I just want to be able to write this down for science. Like priorities, dude. Priority. At least you're not arguing with the Doctor, I guess.
For once, we don't have a Hollywood, or I guess not exactly Hollywood, but a pop culture expert who's trying to be all high and mighty and like actually do what real scientists do and try to learn from what they're doing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah. So there's that guy. There's this guy named Joseph Williamson, who is
Underground tunnel guy.
who started creating these underground tunnels underneath the city of Liverpool, and nobody knows why exactly until we find out in the last episode that he found they were time tunnels essentially, and he's been using them and marking the doors to where they lead. And then so there's that guy. We encounter him quite a bit, which it took me a while to realize that John Bishop was not playing both Dan and that guy. Because at first when we first see him, I was like, is this going to be like a weird like ancestor of Dan's? But then we actually get them like two characters in the same place at the same time. It's like, oh no, they're completely different actors. Like the guy playing Joseph Williamson is quite a bit shorter than John Bishop. So I was
not a bad idea to check the family tree.
Yeah, but I was a little confused there for a little bit. And then the Doctor doesn't know it, but she has some extra help out there that she meets up with Vinder at one point, and then they get separated. And then she doesn't get to see Vinder again until like the very last episode. But then Vinder's I guess wife, they call themselves life partners. His significant other's life partner is out there looking for him as well, because they got separated because of the Flux. Her name is Belle, and she's pregnant. But they hardly ever say the word. They never say the word pregnant, but apparently in the future where they're from, the unborn baby can communicate via like this almost like Tamagotchi type thing.
Yes.
She only mentions she's
pregnant once.
Yeah, she could speak to it, and it could flash up like little emojis based on
Yes.
to respond. So if she says something, they're like happy, like it'll give her like a smiley face, and then she'll be like, yeah, she's like, I'm so glad that it's like we'll find we'll find Vinder eventually, and they'll show up little hearts and stuff. It was just really wild because it wasn't until they at first they didn't say that that's what it was. We thought maybe she just kind of had this weird like Tamagotchi type thing to keep her company, and then we realized like, oh no, that's essentially like the personification of her unborn child in this Tamagotchi type thing. So I thought that was kind of cool though.
Yeah.
So, and she's pretty badass. She's just running around the universe trying to figure out where Vinder may be, and we get some of Vinder's backstory, and he's in like they're both in this like military thing organization, and I guess it's compulsory. You don't really have a choice. But he ends up getting assigned to the Grand Serpent, but doesn't stay in his assignment for very long when the Grand Serpent has a meeting that all their meetings are supposed to be recorded, but he tells them to stop the recording. And then he goes and tells on essentially his new boss, the Grand Serpent. So it gets him sent to like this outpost out in the middle of nowhere. So now he's separated even more from Belle, and he doesn't even know she's pregnant when they get separated. So, so there's kind of this like, this couple trying to get back to each other, but at the same time trying to like avoid being victims of the Flux, and maybe also figure out how to stop the Flux. So, which they end up doing with the help of I'm not gonna pronounce this guy's name. Carvanista.
Yep.
Carvanista. He's a Lupari. He's essentially a dog.
You fetch your dog.
Yes.
Fetch your human.
He's an anthropomorphized dog. Essentially, but apparently the Lupari, there's enough of them that every single Lupari is species bonded to somebody on Earth. So if something was to ever happen to the planet, they're supposed to come and collect their human and get them off the planet before the Earth is destroyed. And this particular Pari happens to be Dance. Dog. So
That's convenient.
yeah.
Yep.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Lupari, they end up helping, but then they end up getting destroyed, and he's the only one left. Unfortunate. Yeah.
And then he gets quote unquote adopted by Belle and Vinder.
Yes. Yeah.
Much to Carnavista's chagrin.
Yeah. The doctor manages to figure out how to stop the Flux using the Sontaran's plan. Because the Flux is made out of antimatter, and antimatter, when confronted with matter, they essentially equal each other out. So, and the Sontarans, under the suggestion of the Grand Serpent, or per his suggestion, not that the Sontarans would ever admit that they had help, but they convinced the Daleks and the Cybermen to come to Earth under a peace treaty so that they can work together, survive the Flux, and then they can rule the galaxy together, I guess. Something, the Sontaran logic. And of course, the Sontarans being Sontarans are like, hey, we'll double cross them. And they're like, they'll come here, and then the Flux will eat them, and they'll all be here, which means the Flux is going to eat all of them. And then, Earth will be just, Earth, all the people, all the humans come on Earth will be destroyed, plus our greatest enemies, the Daleks and the Cybermen. And then the Sontarans will reign supreme, and all the chocolate that Santarans can have, because apparently there are some Santarans that they really love chocolate, and there's some that really wanted to ride a horse. I love the Santarans. I'm terrified of the Weeping Angels. I love the Santarans. I'm so glad they brought them back.
The Santarans are just.
So
No, I don't want
ridiculous.
to call them idiots because they have, been threats in the past. But at the same time,
But this is what happens when you clone.
Yes,
there's just a
true.
variety, so they're all just equally stupid.
For an enemy that's smart, they can be really stupid.
they're more about strategy than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah. But they're not when it comes to strategy, they're not the
Not the sharpest knives in the
they're
drawer.
not, yeah. No. They're not the warmest
they
potatoes
accidentally-
in the bunch.
Yeah. Or somebody's accidentally slipped them a memory worm and they forgot what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Something. I don't know. Oh my god. I love the Santarans though. This is like the one in the second episode, the War of the Santarans, where the doctor's back in the Crimean War, which I know nothing about. And she's talking to like the one general or something, and she's like, "Why are you here?" And he's like, "For the glory of the Santaran Empire," and all those things that you expect a Santaran to say, for honor, for glory, and I wanted to ride a horse. Yeah.
Keep hold of your dreams.
Yes.
Right? I mean, good for him.
Yep.
Just make sure the back of the neck is the vent probe is covered and you'll be
Yep.
fine. You don't want to fall off the horse that high up and hit the neck.
Yeah.
No,
You would think
that would be
they
a bad
would learn
day.
by now.
Yes.
Mm.
You would think of how many times it's happened to them that they would have had a little bit of thinking of maybe we should cover that up.
Do
Yep.
something about it. I mean, humans, we put helmets on to protect our head and other protective gear and equipment. It's like, yeah, if that was a vital part of my anatomy, I'd try to figure out a way to protect it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just me.
Like I said, not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Not the
True.
sharpest potato peeler in the
Not the most crispy fry in the box.
Yeah.
Rather, their mashed potatoes have a few extra lumps.
Mhm.
How many potato puns can we come up with?
But
Not the saltiest chips.
chip in the
Yeah.
in the
They're-
bag.
American-
That's the burnt, greasy chip at the bottom of the bag.
Ooh. Yeah.
And no surprise, I think, for anybody. Of course, the Doctor figures out how to save the universe and her friends along the way.
What's left of the universe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. It's like everything that got eaten up to that point. What happened?
Yeah. Because there's no reverse snap.
Yeah,
Reverse swarm that we know of.
This is what I wonder about these villains and stuff like that. It's like, okay, once you've destroyed all,
Right?
everything that the protagonist has cares about, loves, whatever. It's like, what's gonna be left?
mm-hmm.
It's like, you didn't think this through, did you?
You're like, I'm
I
gonna destroy everything, then I will rule the universe. Like, what are you going to rule?
I want there to be a story, maybe not Doctor Who, but I want a story somewhere where the villain wins, destroys everything, and he's like, okay, what do I do now? I want that.
I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure Twilight Zone did an episode like
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly what I was thinking. The
Oh,
guy
there
that
was a
just wants to.
Twilight
Yeah, there's a guy that just wants to be left alone so he can read his books. And like a nuclear
that's right.
holocaust happens, and he's the last person left alive as far as he knows. And he's not sad about it one bit. He's very excited because that means he's gonna have all the peace and quiet he wants to read his books. And then he breaks his glasses.
Yep.
Oh
Like, steps on 'em or yeah. It's actually a very famous one. That wasn't the one I was thinking of.
Oh,
but
really?
That
Okay.
one, well, I don't know. I'm not as well versed in Twilight Zone as I wish to be, but I'm like, oh man, I swear they've done something like that. But yes, that one would work too.
Mm-hmm. It's like, here you go. You've got exactly what you wanted. Not all it's cracked up to be, is it?
No, indeed.
Yep. But in the process of saving the universe, the Doctor ends up encountering essentially the personification of time itself. Well, first of all, the Doctor, because of the flux, ends up being in 3 places at the same time. So the very last episode ends up being a multi-Doctor story. It just happens to be 3 of the same Doctor, which I'm a sucker for any multi-Doctor story, so I was totally here for it.
Yeah, I had fun involved with that.
So, seeing Jodie essentially play against herself. I mean, obviously she's not when they're filming because there's not more than one of her, but you know, they have like a body double or whatever for her to look at. But the way they edit it so that, you know, Jodie's essentially playing against herself selves. I love it. It was so funny.
Yeah,
She's like she's falling in love with herself. She's like, I think I have a crush on you. Like,
she's
okay,
channeling
Doctor,
her
we
inner
already
Jack
know you have
Harkness.
an ego. Doctor, I'm the smartest person in the room, and now you're gonna be like, oh, I have a crush on myself. I was like, could you Doctor, Master, Grand Serpent, there's your like ego spectrum right there. So.
Yep.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I was because I love that the little short from the 11th Doctor era when they had like the 2. So I wanted something more of that, so I was happy with this. I'm like, ooh, yay!
Yeah, I mean, that's always what's so fun about a multi-Doctor story is the Doctor's personality and ego clashing, even though technically it is the same person. So we got that, except this time it actually is the same person. It's the same incarnation, just 3 times. So, but the Doctor gets put back together when the universe gets saved, so we just have the one. But when she encounters the personification of time, to make it easier to communicate, time will take on a physical representation that the person it's communicating with will, in theory, be comfortable with. Kind of like when we the encounter of that the one creature that ends up becoming a frog.
Oh yeah.
In this case, time decides to make itself look like the 13th Doctor, except the coat, the colors are reversed, and so it's instead of the light with the dark lining, it's dark on the outside with the light lining, which I kind of like. I hope they make that version. Like, can we get the reverse colorway of the coat here? Because I would buy that. I already have the one coat. I would take the other.
Imagine the cosplay now. It'll be
really
easy cosplay.
Yeah. So, but the Doctor gets to have a conversation essentially with time, and time tells her essentially what we have gotten with several other Doctors. Your time's running out. You're gonna have to regenerate here sooner rather than later. And of course the Doctor's like, I don't want to. You know, I like this incarnation. And you know, time is like, well, too bad. You don't regenerate, you don't get to live on. So it's like, just in case you didn't know Jodie was leaving and we're gonna get a new Doctor, here we are. Here's your in-universe reminder that this Doctor is going to regenerate. but not quite yet.
Yeah, there's still a bit more contract to.
We still
fulfill.
have, well, I mean, they finished filming,
Right.
I'm assuming they finished filming everything up to Jodie's regeneration, and if they need to film anything with her along with the new Doctor, they can film that. But technically, yeah, Jodie is done.
Mhm.
And her presumably her side of the regeneration has been filmed, so she knows what's going to happen leading up to it. We just don't know whose face is going to be on the other side of it yet. So by this time next year we should.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Because when we've got this series, and then we've got New Year's Day again, so sticking with the Daleks for the holidays.
Yeah.
With Eve of the Daleks, and then a special in the spring, and then the feature-length special in the fall, which will be Jodie's regeneration. So sometime in the next however long,
However long it takes
for them to hire and figure out how they're going to announce who the new Doctor is. We'll find out who's taken over the TARDIS. But
do you think they might try to keep it a secret? I mean, it should probably be impossible, but
well, they will as long as
not
they
until the
can.
regeneration. I don't think that's possible.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
But
They're...
I mean, they did pretty good about keeping Jodie under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that she wasn't really on anybody's list, as people were making their, the different podcasts and whatever, the Uber fans that were speculating, and I never saw her name really anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even if even when people were like, oh, it could be a woman, her name was never mentioned. So
the fact that it was going to be a woman was like the worst kept secret.
Yeah. But
ever.
Who the particular woman was, they did a good job of keeping secrets. So.
Yeah.
But so that was series 13 of Doctor Who Flux.
Mm-hmm.
Time went very, very, very wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
Yep.
To the point where we had 3 versions of the same Doctor in various points in time that eventually were able to meet up, and it was awesome. And I was here for it. I do love myself a multi-Doctor story.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun. It answered some questions as far as the timeless child. The Doctor did ask Tector to confirm what the Master said about Gallifrey being destroyed, and Tector said yes. Although I don't even know how reliable she is as far as telling the truth. So who knows? But at this point, all signs are saying that Gallifrey is destroyed, and who knows? Maybe it got eaten up in the Flux, even if it had survived.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have mattered.
Or which
know.
Multiverse Gallifrey got destroyed, and how many of them are still around, or is it every single one?
That's also a good point.
Well, maybe they'll pull something out, and Gallifrey will come back for the 60th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They did it for
But
the 50th.
that's fine with me. I really would, if I really would like to see the Doctor encounter more Time Lords besides just the Master.
Ronnie.
So, yes. That's my flag. That's my hill I'm willing to die on.
Same here.
I have got that flag planted so permanently on the top of that hill. Damn it, bring back the Ronnie.
Seriously, why not? She's a great
Right?
character, and it's not like I mean, she's had some good stuff in Big Finish because they brought it, but like
Yes.
the TV, it's been fine. You could have something better. She could be, just she could be behind.
What, you don't
everything
want
'cause
to? You
she's-
don't want another? Was it Dimensions in Time?
No, not with those weird
Mm.
CG floating heads. That was. But
Yeah.
give the Ronnie something good to
Yes.
have fun with. But we've done the Master, and the Ronnie she's deliciously evil, or
Yes.
Mhm.
because
The Master.
she's like she does stuff for her own entertainment and edification, and she doesn't care who gets hurt. Like
Yeah.
there's
She's
a
just
villain
she's just
for ya.
mad scientist. The Master's
Yes.
just mad.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
just pure
Mhm.
chaos. Everything that Ronnie does is very calculated because she's a scientist
Yes.
first.
And she
so
doesn't.
she does
She
things
has
in the
no
name of science.
scruples.
Yeah.
So if you want a
Mhm.
scary antagonist in that vein, I mean, the Weeping Angels are like overpowered. So let's get somebody new, but not so new.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if anyone can bring her back, I think RTD can do it if he is so inclined.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they
I
could have some
agree.
fun with that.
Yeah.
The Master has had his day. Let's.
See, I love the Master. He's always been one of my favorites. But I would
Oh yeah,
definitely
yeah. I'm not. I'm just saying. I've done the
would love to
Master.
see the Ronnie. Yeah, like
Mhm.
Master can take a break.
Yeah. Unless you're gonna bring back Missy, but
Right. Now, Missy and the Ronnie as a team up. Ooh.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
No, too.
That was so chaotic. I would love it.
I was so
That's
cheering for that, and it never
That's making me feel things I didn't know I could feel.
and then you throw that, then bring back River, although I don't think they can at this point, but
Yeah.
maybe that's for audio.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could. That'd be so chaotic, and now just eat it all up.
I'm kind of
Mhm.
crying because that makes me. They're happy tears.
I'm like, you want to do something, imaginative and creative and new, but still be faithful to the Doctor Who lore. That's what you do.
Mhm.
Good
Mm.
grief.
Yes.
Mhm.
Stop chasing rainbows. you've got all this. You've got this source material. Use it to your advantage.
Mhm.
That's the part that kind of frustrates me, but whatever. Big Finish, you're our only hope. We love you.
Nope.
Mhm.
Well, we've
I
got
need
them
to
until
go-
2030 at least. So.
Yeah. Now I gotta go listen to some Missy audios because dang, those
Oh,
Shoko
yes.
is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, folks, if any of you want to give your thoughts on the latest season of Doctor Who, or any of our other news topics or anything else we've discussed, drop us some feedback. Our email address is our email address, let me get this in the right order. Email address is 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. Our website is the5ishfangirls.com. And that is where you can find links to all of our social media and ways to support the show. And yeah, so go check it out. And thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for commenting and sending feedback and all those great things. We
Mhm.
love you guys. And as we said earlier, stay safe, stay warm, and have a happy Christmas, New Year's, all those great things.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Yep. And just a heads up, speaking of which, we will not have a show for you next week. Because this time next week, my happy butt will still be on an airplane coming home from San Francisco.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. So I will and then I will be seriously jet lagged. So
Yeah.
we will not be having a show next week while I recover from travel and 2 Metallica shows. Yee. Go follow me
But
on
how many of these? How many of those for you now? Will
total.
we see? Yeah.
For Metallica, this makes shows 7 and 8, I think.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun though. So yeah, follow me on my Instagram and Twitters if you want to see my follow along with my shenanigans in San Francisco later this week. Yeah, so yeah, no new show next week, but we will be back the Monday after Christmas to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. So that gives you plenty of time to get to the movie theater to go see Spider-Man.
Yep.
So silver lining to that. No new show, but it gives you an extra week to go see Spider-Man.
Yep. So
Mhm.
enjoy your break, and may Santa bring you everything you ever dreamed of,
Mm-hmm.
or at
Yes.
least that new hoverboard that you asked.
Yes. And then we will see you guys after Christmas. So until then, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Troy saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. So if a Santaran really likes chocolate and eats it, is that kind of like a chocolate covered potato chip? Because that's a thing.
That is the thing.
No,
And
that's a potato chip covered chocolate. Which I don't know
Something.
how you do that,
I don't know either.
other than have a Santaran eat a chocolate bar.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.